Hello, YouTube. I have been asked to talk more about caves, discoveries inside them, and various paranormal aspects. I have already made a few videos on the subject. In my youth, I explored Kiev's caves, but not extensively. I was too young. However, one day I will talk about the secrets of the caves in the city where I was born, in the country that doesn't exist anymore, the USSR. There's much to tell. In later years, I had opportunities to see caves in other lands. Also, I had corresponded with Russian cave explorers, those who were interested more in the paranormal aspects. And I still have their wonderful book about underground Russia, so to say. Now, with my leg after the injury not really healed yet, I doubt I'll go back to the fascinating world of the cave exploration. However, I have collected interesting information to share with you. I understand the significance of the caves for the people of the Stone Age. They were like kind of centers of spiritual culture of ancient people. Some call them picturesque galleries of the Stone Age. But people have been on this earth long before the Stone Age. So let me tell you about some interesting caves. And I might have talked about them before, but I want to summarize a few things here. So let's start with the Kapava or Shurgan Tash cave in Bashkiria. It's about 36 to 18,000 years old. People began to use it from the lower Paleolithic era. On its walls, you can see images of animals, anthropomorphic and geometric shapes. That is, the rudiments of abstract thinking were evident in the artists that populated that cave. And there you can see the oldest and incidentally the only image of such an animal as a camel in Europe. The cave was discovered quite late in 1959. Research by the Institute of Archaeology of the Academy of Sciences of the USSR described 170 drawings. They were made with ochre paint mixed with fat, and their age is about 18,000 years. Anthropomorphic figures are very interesting. There are images of huts, triangles, stairs, and strange oblique lines. I wish there was more research, independent research, but I'm sure maybe one day. Uranium thorium dating has shown that the oldest drawings in the Kapava cave were made 16,000 years ago. So we have a little bit of difference of opinion what's the oldest stage there. Anyway, since the tourists actually trashed the cave, it was closed for free visits as far as I know. But since July of 2012, an interactive kiosk had been set up in the museum on the territory of the reserve where this cave is located, where you actually can see the most interesting drawings of the cave without actually going into it. Today, this area of wild, dense forest and high white rocks is home to deer, bear, and the Bashkord bee. Honey from the area is wonderful if you ever want to try the Bashkiria honey. It's very unusual. Anyway, let's get now to the Teshik Tash Grotto cave. In the years 1938-1939, in the Baisuntau Mountains on the territory of Sukhan-Darya region in Uzbekistan, the Soviet archaeologist Okladnikov discovered the Teshik Tash Grotto cave. I think in Uzbek it means hole stone, a stone with a hole. Okladnikov himself wrote about his discovery. Further excavations have revealed an unexpected and truly amazing picture, the likes of which has never been seen by any researcher. The horns of a mountain goat were placed around the skull of a Mousterian man in a strict order, obviously according to a certain plan in the form of a circle. This irrefutably testified that there was already a mind, a logical plan of action, a whole world of ideas that stood behind this action. And this was a very important discovery. I think they had confusion for some years about the sex of the human being they discovered, but they sorted it out. Those scientists, Okladnikov, Gremyatsky, and Sinelnik, who were the ones that did discovery, they were awarded the Stalin prizes for this discovery. It was one of the highest honors in the USSR at the time. But the methods of scientific research at that time were very limited. It is a different matter today, when scientists have the opportunity to study even the genetic structures of people who have died long ago, and they have become available for modern methods of analysis. So in 2007, a group of experts from the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Leipzig began studying mitochondrial DNA from the left femur of the girl from Tashiktash and bones from the Okladnikov cave, which he discovered in the 1970s. The institute compared modern DNA with the previously decoded genomes of 13 European Neanderthals, and it turned out that there is a similarity between them, and a very, very large one. That is, by studying the mitochondrial DNA of Neanderthals from Europe and Siberia, it was possible to prove their close relationship. But the radiocarbon analysis of bones from the Tashiktash cave was never carried out, since the required amount of collagen for such an analysis was not found there. It is interesting that in the 1.5 meter cultural layer of the cave, scientists found the bones of a wild horse, a mountain goat, a deer, and a bear, that is, animals that its inhabitants hunted down. Stone tools belonging to them were also found there. Now, about this Okladnikov's cave. By that time of the discovery, he was an academician. Okladnikov, he went further east and in the Altai Mountains discovered a cave that was named after him. The value of the finds in this cave lies primarily in the fact that they proved that the area of the settlement of the Neanderthals was much wider, and that they lived in Siberia 2,000 kilometers to the east than was previously believed. The cave is located above the river at a height of 14 meters. There are several galleries and holes in it, so that its ancient inhabitants were not cramped in it. The radiocarbon method of research showed that the age of the finds ranges from the 33.5 to 44.8 thousand years. The study of the genomes of a man and a woman from the Okladnikov cave, and then of 7 men and 5 women from the Chagir cave, we'll get to it, led to a very interesting discovery. The Neanderthals of the Middle Paleolithic belong to a population of only a few hundred men. That is, Neanderthal women made a significantly greater contribution to the continuation of their kind than Neanderthal men, as usual. It turned out, for example, that the second right molar tooth from the Okladnikov cave was very close to similar finds in the Chateauneuf 2 caves in France and Schul on Mount Carmel in Israel. That is, the Neanderthals from this cave turned out to be very close to the Neanderthals from Europe and the Neanderthals of the Middle East, as well as the Czech Republic, Malta, and the Neanderthal from Combe-Grenal, if I pronounce it right, which lived in the southwest of France. In addition, an important conclusion was made about a similar nutritional structure. That is, both of them ate the meat of horses, buffalo, but they did not eat fish. So no benefits of omega fats, oil. The concept of beauty was no stranger to these people. In any case, in this Hulk cave, they found 2 drilled beads from mollusk shells The age is from 100 to 100,000 years, which are considered to be the most ancient of jewelry. But in the Russian caves, or let's say Eurasian caves, decorations were also found, although not so ancient. Now, the Denisova cave. I talked about it, but again, this cave is of interest primarily to scientists. So let me give you a brief description, and you can look more in my videos. You'll find them. It was discovered by paleontologist Nikolai Ovadov in 1977. Moreover, it is unique in that that there were 22 cultural layers with a depth of the latter of 14 meters and the age of about 200,000 years. Imagine this. In the 11th cultural layer, which is 30 to 48,000 years old, a collection of jewelry was found, which is considered the oldest in both North and Central Asia. There are pendants and beads both from colored stones and from mammoth tusk, bear, and maral teeth. Let me tell you about this animal. Altai nomadic tribes revered maral as a sacred totemic animal. Legends say that in the heaven there is a herd of these noble animals from which life on earth originated, and the souls of dead people returned to their heavenly relatives. Therefore, hunting for horned beauties was strictly limited. Wise old men warned young miners, if you kill more than 2 Altai deers, it will be trouble. Branch antler, mammal Altai maral, refers to the order of artiodactyls, the deer family. An amazing find of a dark green chloritolite bracelet with a hole drilled for a leather cord and a pink marble ring was made there. Age about 48,000 years ago. Imagine it. But the main find of the cave is Homo altaiensis, or Altai man. True, scientists found few items from that ancient Homo altaiensis. Just a phalanx of the little finger of a girl. So she was 7 to 8 years of age. They found out that she was dark-skinned and brown-eyed, and her maternal ancestors came from Europe about 20,000 years before her birth. She herself lived 40 to 35,000 years ago, but genetic analysis showed that her DNA is different, both from the DNA of a modern man and a Neanderthal. An assumption was made about the existence of Denisovite Altai men. It is believed that the Denisovans and Neanderthals separated 500,000 years ago, and their common ancestor separated from the line of the ancestor of Homo sapiens even earlier, about 700 to 765,000 years ago. Beads and pendants from Denisova cave, wonderful. I don't know how else to describe it. Interestingly, the cultural layer of the Upper Paleolithic, they found in that cultural layer miniature needles with a drilled eyelet, piercing points, and piercing with rows of symmetrical deep annular grooves, beads and rings made of mammoth tusk, flat bead rings made of fossilized ostrich eggshells, shells, freshwater mollusks with a hole drilled at the base, pendants made of soft ornamental stone, maral and fox teeth, white marble ring and dark green chloritolite bracelet. But the nearest outcrops of this mineral are located in Rudny Altai on the border of Kazakhstan, that is 200 kilometers from the Denisova cave. Now, the Mezmai cave is located in the valley of the Sukhoy Kurdzhib River in the southern Russian Republic of Adygea, located on the northwestern foothills of the North Caucasus in the Caucasus Mountains system or range. The cave entrance is a hole in the cliff several meters high, behind which the course is narrow to a few meters, but almost all along remains quite high. Within a few tenths of meters of the entrance to the cave, the floor is transformed from rocky to clay. It was discovered not that long ago, in 1987, by the archaeologist PhD Golovanova, and then the skeletons of Neanderthal children aged from several months to 2 years were found there. It turned out that the Neanderthals lived there from 70 to 40,000 years ago, and people of the species Homo sapiens from 39 to 11,000 years ago. It is interesting that obsidian entered the Mazmei cave from the Sarai Chuko grotto in Kabardino-Balkaria from the distance of 250 kilometers. That is, it was either trade or long-term hikes for those supplies and items. A very important discovery was the volcanic ash found in the cave and related to two volcanic eruptions at once. Elbrus, which coincided in age with a cold snap about 45,000 years ago, and the Kazbek eruption, which occurred simultaneously with the super eruption of the Phlegrean fields on the Apennine Peninsula and the St. Anna volcano in southern Carpathians about 40,000 years ago. After the second eruption in the soil and in the bones of animals found there, the content of harmful substances increased noticeably. That is, the ecological situation in this area deteriorated sharply. The animals disappeared, and there was no pollen in the sediments. That is, they died. That is nothing good what was expected by the inhabitants of this cave in the past from the future, so to say. But on the other hand, the study of their bone remains made it possible to establish the genetic relationship of the Neanderthals of the North Caucasus and Central Europe. Now this, let's call it Chagirskaya cave. It was found in the southern part of the Altai territory. Again, the Altai Mountains. I always bring your attention to this fascinating piece of land, piece of earth. 2 kilometers from the village of Ust-Chagirka, in the region of the northern spurs of the Tigiretsky Ridge, and also above the river, only at an altitude of 25 meters. It has 2 large holes with an area of about 130 square meters. In 2008, a Neanderthal site was found there, excavation of which yielded 74 fragments of their bones and about 90,000 tools made of stone and bone. Imagine the number. The study of the materials of the excavations was carried out by archaeologists under the guidance of Ksenia Kolobova, Institute of Archaeology and Ethnography, Siberian branch of the Russian Academy of Sciences, and also by Richard Roberts from the University of Wollongong in Australia. Thus, they compared 4 stone tools from the Jakir cave with their counterparts from Europe and Western Asia, and samples from the Denisova cave. It was believed that the Neanderthals only worked stone. Now it became clear that they could work with bone as well. It was noted that similarity, if not the identity, of the technique used for making tools found in the cave with the one that existed on the territory of Paleolithic Europe. It was this circumstance that makes the Chagirskaya cave, along with the Okladnikov cave, a truly unique historical monument. That is, even then people migrated thousands of kilometers and transferred from one end of Eurasia to another, not only their DNA, but also their stone tools. Scientists also found a completely useless rock crystal, which was chipped off by the Neanderthals from a large piece, chipped off and then for some reason brought into the cave. What for? Is it only in order to admire it? Think about it. Who knows? Analysis of strontium isotopes in the bones of the local Neanderthals showed that they lived sedentary lifestyle, were born and died in the same area. Moreover, stable isotopes of carbon and nitrogen in bone collagen and microbotanical residues contained in the tartar of the inhabitants of both the Chagir cave and the Okladnikov cave made it possible to draw a conclusion about a similar diet of the Chagir and the, let's call them, Europeans. They also ate starchy plants and even fish, which was previously questioned. So the study of ancient caves on the territory of Russia, I would also say further on in Central Asia, gave science so much that it can be said that it opened a whole new page in the history of Paleolithic. But there's another cave I want to talk about. Chokurchinskaya cave. It's a cave in the Crimea on the outskirts of Simferopol. It was named after the nearby village of Chokurcha, and Lugavoy under another name. Chokurcha is so far the only monument in the Paleolithic of the Earth that has given highly aesthetic and scientific samples of ancient art, tentatively estimated at 40 to 45,000 years. This geographical feature, Crimea, it's located on the territory of the Crimean Peninsula, which today is the object of territorial disputes between Russia, which controls the disputed territory, and Ukraine, within the borders of which the disputed territory is recognized by the majority of the United Nations member states. According to the federal structure of Russia, the subjects of the Russian Federation, the Republic of Crimea, and the federal city of Sevastopol are located on the disputed territory of Crimea. According to the administrative division of Ukraine, the disputed territory of Crimea contains the regions of Ukraine, the Autonomous Republic of Crimea, and the city with a special status, Sevastopol. Let's get back to the cave. The cave grotto is located on the left rocky bank of the Malay Salgir River in Simferopol, near Lugavaya Street. One can get to the parking lot. I don't know how, but maybe in the future, when things will settle down. One can get there through the territory of the Simferopol Regional Hospital, passing the bridge over the Malay Salgir. Chokurcha faces north with its entrance, which is unusual for the cave sites of primitive man. The valley of the Malay Salgir River, comfortably protected from the prevailing winds from the northeast and southwest in the cold season by the uplands of the foothills and the second ridge of the Crimean Mountains, was the most suitable place for settlement. At that time, the foothills were covered with forests, rich in fruits and wildlife. The depth of the grotto is up to 5 meters, and with the width is up to 7 meters. This is the remnant of an ancient, more extensive cave, which in the past reached apparently 15 meters in length. The front, most of it collapsed, revealing the interior. The Chokurchinsky cave has become widely known as the site of the Paleolithic man. Neanderthal skeletons were discovered there for the first time in the USSR. The first excavations were carried out there in 1927. Geologist Dvoychenko and archaeologist Zabnin conducted archaeological excavations in one of the caves, which then continued for a number of years. Most of the flint points and scrapers were found in the cave, as well as several bone tools. Unique rock carvings were found on the vault of the grotto, under a layer of soot from modern bonfires. Images of the sun with rays, very interesting. The diameter of the disk is about 0.5 meters. A mammoth and a fish, their sizes also 0.5 meters each, were hollowed out in the limestone rock. Numerous animal bones were found in the strata in the cave and in front of it. Judging by the bones, a cave bear, a cave hyena, a primitive bull, a wild horse, a giant deer, a saiga antelope, and a rhinoceros, and a mammoth lived in the Crimean foothills at that time. I mean, Crimea is incredible. Just speaking from the time I was there, there's so much to find. I'm trying to put as much as I can in the videos about truly paranormal phenomena, and you can see it in my channel. The finds almost completely perished during the World War II.
Apparently now Chokurcha can be judged only by the articles of urns and by small collections of finds that have survived in the local history museums of Simferopol and Odessa. Chokurchinskaya cave is a monument that has preserved to this day the remains of extinct fauna that lived in the Crimean foothills 50,000 years ago. In 1947, the cave was declared a natural monument. I understand that it was greatly damaged, but I can't prove anything at this point. Crimea is out of reach, so maybe we'll find out in the future what's going on. There's so much more to tell you, but that's enough for now. I will come back to the caves. My primarily aspect of research is the paranormal phenomena associated with them, but I thought this would be of interest to you, and we'll talk more. If you like my research, please help me by, you'll see the links in the description to this video. Please like my videos, and thank you for all your attention and support.